The member for McMahon.
Thank you for the call, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. The former Treasurer, Mr Hockey, said, and I quote, "Negative gearing should be skewed towards new housing, so there's an incentive to add to the housing stock, rather than incentive to speculate on existing property." Does the current Treasurer agree with the former Treasurer, or did the former Treasurer have a better understanding of the Australian economy and housing market?
The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the member for the question on negative gearing. He'd be interesting to know that those who are negative gearing in this country, Mr Speaker, there are 10 times more negative gearers who are nurses, teachers and emergency service workers than those who are surgeons, anaesthetists and finance managers, Mr Speaker. In fact, over $1.2 billion, Mr Speaker, in net rental losses claimed by teachers, nurses and emergency workers and clerks, compared with just $150 million claimed by surgeons, anaesthetists and finance managers, Mr Speaker. I don't know what those opposite have against those on ordinary wages, Mr Speaker. Those who are on average wages. First of all, Mr Speaker, they show no empathy whatsoever for the 300,000 on average wages going into higher tax brackets. And then, Mr Speaker, they want to take away the only thing that people on average wages, people like nurses and emergency workers and teachers, who negative gear and make the sacrifice and make the investment. You know what they want them to do, Mr Speaker? They want them to go and compete for about 10% of the assets with all of the others on higher incomes and be driven out of the opportunity for negative gearing in this country, Mr Speaker. And the other thing they want to do, as the Prime Minister has rightly said, the day a new home buyer goes and puts their key in the door of a new home,
the member for Griffith will leave under 94A.
It turns into an old home,
Member
Mr
for
Speaker.
Griffith
We
will
know
leave
what
under
happens
94A.
to old homes under their policy, Mr Speaker. It's like driving a new car off the lot. Like driving a new car off the lot. It depreciates in value, Mr Speaker.
The Treasurer
depreciates in value.
The Treasurer will resume his seat. The Minister for Immigration will cease interjecting. The member for Sydney will cease interjecting. The Manager of Opposition Business on a point of order.
Yeah, on direct relevance, Mr Speaker, the question is entirely about a comparison of this Treasurer with the previous Treasurer, and he hasn't touched on it once. He's a minute and a half in now.
The Manager of Opposition Business will resume his seat. There's no point of order. The Treasurer has the call.
What I'm talking about is the policy of those opposite to limit negative gearing just to new houses, Mr Speaker. And as the Prime Minister has said, under their capital gains tax and other measures, 1 in 3 investors taking out of the existing home market, Mr Speaker. Now, if they think that doesn't have an impact on the nurses and the teachers and the others who are looking for that opportunity. So what they're saying, Mr Speaker, if you've got your property now, if you've had that opportunity, in the future, if you're a nurse graduating and 5 years from now you want to get into the housing market and you want a negative gear on an existing property, the answer from those opposite is no. We're going to shut you out. We're going to roll you out, Mr Speaker. Those opposite have no empathy for Australians who are working to pay tax in this country, Mr Speaker. They have no empathy for those who are trying to back themselves in this transitioning economy. What you get from them is a race for higher taxes. You know, the policy debate in this country, Mr Speaker, isn't about who can raise the most taxes, but those opposite think it is. Those opposite think the policy debate in this country is who can raise the most taxes. We're not in that race. We're into lower taxes and lower spending.